Here's something nobody warns you about when you turn 50. You go to bed feeling fine. You wake up the next morning and your knees don't want to bend. Your fingers feel like they belong to someone else. And getting out of bed suddenly requires a plan instead of just standing up. If that sounds familiar, stick with me for the next few minutes because what I'm about to share could completely change the way your mornings feel. There's a reason your joints feel stiffer in the morning than at any other time of day, and once you understand that reason, the solution becomes almost simple. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do in the first 10 minutes after waking up to loosen up stiff joints, protect your mobility for years to come, and start your day moving instead of wincing. And stay with me until the end, because there's one small habit almost nobody talks about that seems to make the biggest difference of all. Let's talk about why mornings are the hardest part of the day for so many people over 50. While you sleep, your body isn't moving much for 6, 7, maybe 8 hours straight. Your joints have this natural lubrication inside them called synovial fluid. Think of it like oil in a hinge. When a hinge sits still for a long time, it gets a little dry and squeaky. The moment you start moving it again, it loosens up and works smoothly. Your joints work in a very similar way. Overnight, without movement, that fluid doesn't circulate as much, and the tissues around your joints can tighten up. That's why the first few steps out of bed can feel like your body forgot how to work. It's not that something is broken. It's that your joints are simply asking for a little warm-up before they perform at their best, the same way an athlete stretches before a big game. Here's the part that surprises a lot of people. The way you spend your very first 10 minutes after waking up can set the tone for how your entire body feels for the rest of the day. Jump straight out of bed and rush into your morning, and you might be fighting stiffness and discomfort for hours. But ease into movement the right way. And many people notice they feel looser, steadier on their feet, and more comfortable walking down the stairs within just a few days of practicing it. This isn't about intense exercise. It's not about pushing through pain. It's about small, gentle, deliberate movements that tell your joints, hey, it's time to wake up too. So before your feet even touch the floor, here's where we begin. While you're still lying in bed, take a few slow breaths and simply start with your ankles. Point your toes forward, then flex them back toward you, slowly, about 10 times on each foot. This gets blood moving into the lower legs and feet, an area that tends to get overlooked but plays a huge role in balance and walking comfort. Next, gently draw your knees up toward your chest, one at a time, holding each for a few seconds. This gives your hips and lower back a gentle wake-up call without any strain. Then still lying down, make slow circles with your wrists and ankles like you're tracing small circles in the air. It sounds almost too simple to matter. But this kind of gentle movement is often recommended by physical therapists as a safe way to ease joints into motion after a long period of stillness. Now here's something worth pausing on for a moment. Have you ever noticed that some mornings your joints feel almost fine, and other mornings they feel much worse? There's actually a reason for that pattern, and it has a lot to do with something most people do the night before without realizing its effect on their joints the next day. We're going to get into that a little later. So keep that question in the back of your mind. Once you've done those gentle bed stretches, it's time to sit up slowly, using your arms to help push yourself up rather than straining your back or knees. Take a moment sitting on the edge of the bed before standing. This isn't laziness, this is strategy. Standing up too quickly after lying down for hours can sometimes cause a brief dizzy feeling, especially as we get older, because blood pressure needs a moment to adjust. Giving yourself even 15 or 20 seconds sitting upright allows your body to catch up before you put weight on your legs. While you're sitting there, this is a great moment to work on your hands, especially if you've noticed some stiffness in your fingers in the morning. Gently make a fist, then slowly open your hand as wide as you can, spreading your fingers. Repeat this about 10 times with each hand. Your hands do so much work for you every single day, yet they rarely get any attention until they start complaining. This simple motion helps improve circulation and flexibility in the small joints of the fingers, which can make everyday tasks like opening jars or buttoning a shirt feel noticeably easier. Something else worth mentioning here, and this connects to what we'll cover in the next part. The temperature of your body when you wake up actually plays a bigger role in joint comfort than most people realize. Cold muscles and joints are naturally stiffer than warm ones. This is exactly why many people notice their joints feel worse on chilly mornings compared to warm ones. Understanding this simple fact opens the door to one of the most effective habits you can build into your morning, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use it to your advantage in the next part. So don't go anywhere, because what comes next might be the single easiest change you make all year for your joints. Welcome back. Let's pick up right where we left off, with that idea about temperature in your joints. Because this is genuinely one of those things that sounds almost too simple to be true, yet it makes a real difference for so many people. Warmth helps blood flow more freely, and better blood flow means more of that natural lubrication reaching your joints. This is why a warm shower in the morning often feels so good on stiff knees or an aching back. It's not just relaxing, it's actually helping loosen tissue that tightened up overnight. If mornings are especially rough for you, consider letting the warm water run over your knees, shoulders, or lower back for an extra minute or two before you start scrubbing and washing. Some people also find comfort using a warm towel or a heating pad on a particularly stiff area first thing in the morning, for 10 or 15 minutes, as a way to ease into the day. This is a widely recommended, simple approach that many physical therapists suggest as part of a gentle morning routine, not as a treatment, but as a comfort measure that can make movement feel easier afterward. Now let's talk about actually getting up and moving once you're out of bed, because this next part of the routine is where a lot of people either set themselves up for a great day or accidentally make their stiffness worse without even realizing it. Once you're standing, resist the urge to immediately start rushing around the house. Instead, spend just 2 or 3 minutes doing what I like to call a standing wake-up sequence. Start with your shoulders. Roll them backward slowly in a circle about 8 times, then forward 8 times. This helps loosen the upper back and neck, an area that carries a surprising amount of tension, especially if you slept in an awkward position. Next, gently tilt your head from side to side, bringing your ear toward your shoulder without forcing it, just enough to feel a light stretch along the side of your neck. From there, move into a gentle standing hip circle. Place your hands on your hips and slowly rotate them in a circle, like you're using a hula hoop but slow and controlled. Do this about 5 times in each direction. This wakes up the hip joints, which bear so much of your body's weight throughout the day and often become one of the stiffest areas for people over 50. Follow this with a few slow, gentle knee bends, holding onto a countertop or sturdy chair for balance if needed. Bend your knees slightly, just a small dip, and straighten back up, repeating about 10 times. This is not a squat challenge. This is simply reminding your knee joints that it's time to bear weight again after hours of rest. Here's something worth thinking about for a moment. Many people believe that resting a stiff or achy joint is always the best approach, but research on joint health generally points in a different direction. Movement, especially gentle and consistent movement, tends to be far more helpful for joint comfort over time than staying still. Of course, this doesn't mean pushing through sharp pain or ignoring your body's warning signs, but it does mean that avoiding movement altogether because a joint feels stiff often makes the stiffness worse, not better. This is actually one of the most important shifts in thinking that can help you feel more mobile and independent as you get older. And it's why gentle daily movement is often described by health experts as one of the best things you can do for long-term joint comfort. Before we move on, let's talk about your feet for a second, because this is something that quietly affects your knees, hips, and even your lower back without most people ever noticing the connection. What you put on your feet first thing in the morning matters more than you'd think. Walking around barefoot on hard floors, especially tile or hardwood, can send extra strain up through your ankles and knees with every step, particularly if you already deal with some stiffness. Many people find real relief simply by keeping a supportive pair of house shoes or slippers with a firm sole right next to the bed, so their feet have some cushioning and support from the very first step of the day. It sounds like such a small detail, but your feet are the foundation for every joint above them, and giving them a little support in the morning can make the rest of your body's movement feel noticeably smoother. Let's talk about something else that ties directly into how your joints feel every morning, and that's what's happening on your plate. Now, I want to be clear, there's no single food that magically fixes joint stiffness overnight, and anyone who tells you otherwise isn't being honest with you. But there is a growing body of research suggesting that certain eating patterns may support the body's natural ability to manage inflammation, and less inflammation in the body often means less overall stiffness and discomfort in the joints. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, walnuts, chia seeds, and flaxseed are frequently mentioned by nutrition experts as part of an anti-inflammatory way of eating. Colorful vegetables and fruits, especially berries, leafy greens, and peppers, are packed with antioxidants that many researchers believe help the body fight off the kind of low-grade inflammation that tends to increase with age. On the other hand, Heavily processed foods and excess added sugar have been associated in various studies with higher inflammation markers in the body. This doesn't mean you need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. It simply means that small shifts, like adding a handful of berries to your breakfast or choosing baked salmon over fried food a couple of times a week, may support your joints from the inside out, working alongside your morning movement routine rather than replacing it. Hydration deserves its own moment here too, because it's so often overlooked. Remember that synovial fluid we talked about earlier, the natural lubrication inside your joints? Your body needs adequate water to produce and maintain that fluid properly. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep without a single sip of water, many people wake up mildly dehydrated without even realizing it. This is why having a full glass of water first thing in the morning, even before your coffee, is a habit that many health experts recommend, not just for digestion and energy, but potentially for joint comfort as well. It's such a small thing, yet it's one of those habits that people who feel their best in the morning almost always seem to have in common. Now, I promised you earlier that we'd get into something almost nobody talks about, something that could be affecting your joints without you ever connecting the dots. It has to do with your sleeping position and more specifically what's underneath you while you sleep. This single factor can either be working with your body all night long or quietly working against it for 8 straight hours. And once you understand this, you'll probably want to check something in your own bedroom tonight. Stay with me, because we're covering that next, along with how to close out your morning routine so that stiffness doesn't come creeping back in by lunchtime. All right, let's get into that sleeping position secret because this genuinely surprises people the first time they hear it. The way your body is positioned for those 7 or 8 hours overnight has a direct effect on how your joints feel when you wake up. If you sleep on your stomach, for example, this position often forces your neck to twist to one side for hours at a time and can put extra strain on your lower back. Many physical therapists gently steer people away from stomach sleeping for this exact reason. Side sleeping with a pillow between the knees, on the other hand, is frequently recommended because it helps keep the hips, knees, and spine in a more neutral, aligned position throughout the night, which can reduce the amount of overnight stiffness that builds up in the lower body. And your mattress and pillow matter more than people give them credit for. A mattress that's too soft can allow your spine to sink out of alignment, while a pillow that's too high or too flat can leave your neck strained by morning. You don't need to buy anything expensive to test this out. Simply pay attention tonight to how your body feels in different positions, and consider placing a pillow between your knees if you sleep on your side, or under your knees if you sleep on your back. It's a small adjustment that so many people wish they had discovered years earlier. Now let's bring everything together and finish out this morning routine so you can start applying it tomorrow. After your bed stretches, your warm shower, your standing wake-up sequence, and that first glass of water, the final piece is a short walk, even if it's just around your living room or down your hallway for 2 or 3 minutes. This continues to build on all the gentle movement you've already done, keeps blood flowing to your leg joints, and helps you transition from waking up to actually starting your day feeling capable and steady. Some people like to step outside for this part if the weather allows, since a little morning sunlight and fresh air tends to boost mood and energy as an added bonus. If it's cold outside, simply walking through your home while your coffee brews works just as well. I want to mention one more thing that ties this whole routine together, and it's about consistency rather than intensity. You don't need to spend an hour every morning on elaborate stretches to see a difference. What actually seems to matter most, based on what movement specialists frequently observe, is doing a handful of gentle movements every single day rather than doing a big intense routine only once in a while. Joints respond to patterns over time. Skipping your routine for a week and then doing an hour of stretching on Sunday won't give you the same benefit as spending just 8 to 10 minutes each morning, consistently, week after week. Think of it less like a workout and more like brushing your teeth. It's a small habit repeated daily that protects something valuable over the long run. I think about a woman I heard about who in her early 60s described how she used to dread getting out of bed because her knees felt so stiff that walking to the bathroom felt like a chore. She started with just the ankle circles and knee to chest stretches while still lying in bed. Nothing fancy, just 2 minutes before her feet even touched the floor. Within a couple of weeks, she said walking down her stairs in the morning no longer felt like a negotiation with her own body. Stories like this aren't rare. They're actually incredibly common once people commit to just a few minutes of intentional movement each morning, instead of rushing straight into the day. Let's also be honest about what this routine is not. This isn't a replacement for talking with your doctor if you're dealing with ongoing joint pain, swelling, or discomfort that's affecting your daily life. If something feels sharp, sudden, or significantly worse than your usual stiffness, that's your body sending an important signal that deserves a conversation with a healthcare professional. What we've covered today is about supporting your body's natural movement and comfort through gentle, sensible daily habits, the same kind of habits that health experts across the country consistently point to as valuable pieces of healthy aging. This is about giving your joints their best possible chance every single morning, not about masking a problem that needs proper attention. So here's what we've covered today, and I want you to really let this sink in. Your joints get stiff overnight simply because they haven't moved in hours, not because something is wrong with you. A gentle 2 to 3 minute stretch while still in bed can wake up your ankles, knees, hips, and hands before you even stand up. A warm shower or a few minutes of warmth on a stiff joint can genuinely ease that first thing in the morning tightness. A standing wake-up sequence involving your shoulders, neck, hips, and knees helps prepare your body to bear weight comfortably. What you eat and how much water you drink plays a quiet but meaningful role in how your joints feel from the inside out. And even your sleeping position and what's underneath you at night can be working for you or against you without you ever realizing it. None of this requires expensive equipment, a gym membership, or hours of your day. It simply requires 10 minutes and a little bit of intention each morning. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this video, it's that feeling stiff in the morning doesn't have to be something you just accept as an unavoidable part of getting older. Small, gentle, consistent movement really can change how your body feels, one morning at a time. I'd genuinely love to know, what does your morning routine look like right now, and which one of these habits are you going to try first? Drop a comment and let me know, because so many people watching are going through exactly the same thing you are, and your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If this video helped you even a little, please consider sharing it with a friend or family member who could use it too, someone who mentioned their knees feel stiff, or a parent who's been quietly dealing with this without saying much about it. And if you'd like more simple, honest, science-based tips like this one for staying active, independent, and feeling your best as the years go on, go ahead and subscribe, because we've got a lot more to cover together. Here's to waking up feeling just a little bit better, starting tomorrow morning.